Welcome to the happytans podcast, where you will learn everything you need to know about running a successful sunless tanning business. We will interview some of the industry's top business owners to find out how they took a passion and turned it into a prosperous business. And here's your host, Grant Conscious.
Hello and welcome to the happytans podcast. On today's episode, we have Kelly Callaghan from Slay Beauty Bar and Spray Tan Class. How are you doing today, Kelly?
I'm great. How about you, Grant?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today and taking some time out of your day to share some insight with our listeners.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Sure. So if you want to give us a little background information, introduction to yourself for those that don't know you.
Sure. My name is Kelly Callaghan. I started off as a mobile tanning technician in the small town of Corona, California. The first business that I started was called Positively Tan, and as business grew, I decided to expand and get into a salon. So now we're called Slay Beauty Bar, which is what you just mentioned. And we offer multi-services now. So we offer spray tanning, of course, body contouring, eyelash extensions, waxing, and facials. So I also own and operate an international spray tan training academy, which is called Spray Tan Class, and that also offers beginning and advanced spray tan and business education online and in person.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that information, and I know that I had mistakenly thought you were still Positively Tan, so thanks for sharing that.
Of course, most people still think that.
Well, it's good to see, and it seems like a natural way to kind of extend the business to get into those other beauty-type services. So you said you did get your license, your esthetician's license?
Yes, I got it December of this past year, so 2016, and I mainly still work with tanning just because that's like my passion, but I also do a little bit of the lashes, which I also like, although it's a lot harder than spray tanning in my opinion. But I try to stick to just spray tanning, and I have another girl that works for me. Her name's Katie. She's amazing, and she does the rest of the services there.
Awesome. Yeah, anytime I see the eyelash thing, it just looks so tedious. There's no way in the world that I could do that.
It is horrendous sometimes, and sometimes you have a shaky hand if you had too much coffee or if you drink a Red Bull or something like that. Sure. There's no way you could do it. So I try to just stick with the spray tanning stuff and just, stay in the realm of what I know.
Right. Well, that automatically disqualifies me because I definitely drink too much coffee every day. So
yeah, it's hard. It's definitely tough.
All right, Kelly. Well, as you know, I mean, you've been in this for a while. I remember we spoke a long time ago back when I worked at Sholey. We used to talk. I know that maybe you were a little newer to the industry then, but as you've seen the roller coaster ride for your business, I'm sure that you can share that with anyone. There's a lot of high moments, there's a lot of low moments, and that's something a lot of people don't talk about. But I really like to share kind of the best of both worlds, or not the best of both worlds, but both sides of the spectrum there. The worst and best entrepreneurial moment that you've had. So if you want to give us some insight on those specific moments in your career.
Yes. So, yes, a lot of ebbs and flows, a lot of really great times, a lot of really bad times. And I think that the hard times are when it's hard for us as business professionals to stick through it. And with support, I've had great amount of support. So it's been kind of easier to get through these times. But I would say the worst moments that I've had throughout my business is, and this is something that I share on my Facebook group too, it's called Beauty Business Babes, along with my YouTube channel, because I want to kind of be transparent and I want to let people know that they're not alone if they go through this as well. But I think that one of the worst moments that I've had, it actually has been something that's happened a few times with a few different people, but I think that, having my work plagiarized has been an issue for me where we've had to get like attorneys involved, and it's actually people that I know that have, word for word plagiarized my work and put them into their own blog posts and that sort of thing. And I take it very personally, even though I shouldn't. But I work my butt off to create, these content for people. And it takes a lot of work and energy to get some of my work out there. So for someone to kind of just take it and present it as their own is very, very tough on me personally. So I think that's probably one of my worst moments that I've had in business. Not like the worst thing ever that could ever possibly happen, but
Sure.
It's definitely up there. So that's probably been, something that's been a little bit draining or concerning to me.
Sure, and it's something very personal to you, like you said. You spend a lot of time and effort creating that, so that's why it's really a personal thing, and it kind of gets to you if somebody does do that. So I completely understand that.
Right, yeah, and I just don't want to get to the point where you have to get attorneys involved and go through all this mess when it could just be easily avoided. I completely understand that. I love to get inspiration from other people, but I would never, ever just copy and paste their work. So
exactly,
it's difficult for sure.
I was going to say on the other side of the best thing that's happened.
Yeah, the best thing. There's so many moments that have been amazing where you're just like, thank you so much, whoever this is. Thank you for, allowing me to, one, do what I'm passionate about. And, I'm at a point where I don't have to drag my feet to work every day, which is a blessing in itself. But I would say the best moment that I've had is opening up my salon. And the reason why is just because it's a space that I was able to create on my own. I used to actually rent out rooms from other places, other salons and spas, which weren't really a great representation of my brand or myself. So now that we've opened up our own salon, basically we can have the decor the way that we want it. We can go ahead and serve, champagne if we want to. We can have whatever we want in that space created because it's our own. So I think that's really exciting when I hear people come through and they're like, oh my gosh, this place is so cute. It's very homey. It feels very relaxing. It's very modern. And then I have, people who fly in to take the training courses who are able to just have not only, a work event where they're getting trained, but also have a place where they're 2 blocks away from the beach and they can also have more of like a vacation as well. So it's super comfortable, and I love that my husband now, Luke, and I created it together. He was able to build the walls up, and I was able to make it just how I wanted. So it's so homey and lovely, and I love it.
Yeah, that's really cool that you got to do it with Luke, and ultimately being able to create something that is your own and kind of, like you said, emulates the brand. That's a big thing, and a lot of people miss out on that. People starting out that are just mobile. When they make that leap into a physical location, you get to customize that and give people that certain feel that you want people to have when they come to your business. So that's really, really important.
Exactly. I always say it's the sleigh experience. So you're going to get the sleigh experience when you come over. You're going to have great customer service. You're going to have a bubbly professional helping you out, and you're going to have great service from the time that you book until the time that you leave. So
yeah, very, very nice. That's got to be a great feeling for you.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Definitely. So as your business has grown, obviously you started out as a mobile tanner. You've expanded, now doing the training, having the beauty bar, more services. What changes have you made, on a daily, weekly, monthly basis for yourself? Obviously, you probably used to do a lot more hands-on things than you do now that you have someone working with you. But how has that changed for you, and how have you kept up with that, with the growth and success that you've had?
So there's so many things that come to mind. I would say the first thing that comes to mind right now is the sacrifice of my social life. I used to be a huge partier. I used to love to go out and have a great time with my friends, and that took a lot of energy from me. So I actually had to, in the beginning especially, really transform my life from letting go of things that really didn't serve me and my business and start focusing on putting that energy into my business. And so from there, I just always try to continuously learn and invest in myself and my education through classes in technique or marketing or product education, and just trying to stay on top of my game. And I had this, just a laser focused vision of how I wanted my business to be. And I knew that by letting go of certain things that, again, no longer served me, I was able to just kind of allocate enough energy to really work on my business day in and day out. So I never, settle. I'm always wanting to do better. And I think that's kind of what gives me the momentum I really need in order to, feed the bigger picture. But just on the daily basis, just going in and doing the best that I can, and really trying to create a really good, business space for my clients on a day in and a day out. So.
Yeah, definitely. And the sacrifice is something that, is inspiring to hear, and a lot of people need to hear that there's a lot of work that goes into it, and giving up your social life and things like that, that's something I know all too well. And just you kind of have to do that depending on the level of success that you want to have. But if you want to go from, a few tens a week to having a location and doing this and having an international training program and things like that, then you got to make the sacrifices necessary to do that. So I completely understand that, but it's good to hear and good for people to understand that it takes a lot of work to get there. And you kind of have to settle and decide on what's best, and investing in yourself is the best investment that you can make versus, instead of investing in, who knows, Starbucks coffee or something like that, spend that money on a book or some kind of online resource, something that'll help you grow personally. So that's really good to hear.
Yeah, no distractions here. I'm trying to just stay very laser focused. And it's funny that you mentioned not spending money on certain things like Starbucks. Like, I am probably the most frugal person ever, unless it comes to my business and traveling and education. I hardly ever go shopping, or for my business, of course. But yeah, I never go shopping, never buy things that I don't really need. So just my basic necessities, and I am totally okay with that.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to mention about your previous question also is letting go of the control, because I think that is when I found my most growth in my business, was when I was able to kind of let go and hire people to help me out, because that's something that I couldn't do in the beginning. I was such a control freak, and I really wanted things to be done a certain way, but I hired a virtual assistant who is absolutely amazing, and then Katie, who works at the salon. And without those two, I really don't think that my business would have been able to grow as much as it has in the past, year or two.
Yeah, and they say that anything that you do more than once is something that you can hire somebody else to do. So that's good to hear, and kind of letting go is a way to do it, and that's the only way you can actually take a step back and work on the business and not in the business. So that's good to hear.
Right, exactly. I love that.
And I might compete with you for the most frugal, because I'm pretty bad.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a blessing for sometimes. So for overall, I'm okay with that. I don't like to have, a ton of things. I'm trying to be a minimalist as much as I can.
Yeah, me too. I watched that documentary and follow those guys. That's good to hear.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that documentary. Very good.
Anyway, sorry, we won't talk about frugality too much there, but kind of on to the next thing. If you had to pinpoint one thing that you've done in your business that's really helped you to grow, throughout the years, one particular thing that has helped your business grow, what would you, what would you say is the most valuable thing that you've done to help grow your business?
So I think mindset is definitely huge. So just staying persistent. And never giving up even when I wanted to. I did things even when I wasn't sure of myself, because I wanted so badly to succeed. So I really stepped out of my comfort zone and outside of my little box that I was in. But just having a laser focus on my vision and having this huge dream and never letting go of that dream, and just believing in myself. So I think just that mindset of believing, knowing, trusting, and being persistent, and just understanding that I can do this if I really, 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 really wanted to, and, just keep on pushing. I think that's probably the biggest thing that's helped me drive through the couple of years that I've owned my business. Very good,
very good. Mindset obviously is essential to anybody's success, and if you hear any of the, most famous or most, successful entrepreneurs, then you'll see that mindset is a huge thing. And the comfort zone obviously is a big thing. Anybody that listens to the podcast knows that my wife bought me a coaster that says life begins at the end of your comfort zone, a wonderful quote by Neil Donald Walsh. So it's just, that's so true that you kind of have to step outside of your comfort zone. Anybody that's just getting into this business will quickly find out that they have to do that. Once they're trying to grow their business, and being that awkward person that goes up and hands their business cards out or whatever that may be, it's just that's just how it is. So it's really good to hear that you say that the mindset is a big thing, and also kind of getting out of your comfort zone.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah. So on to some more, technical, or not technical, but more related to the spray tan industry. What, if you don't mind sharing, the type of equipment and solution that you use, and why you chose those manufacturers or producers?
Sure. So I am kind of all over the place a little bit when it comes to solutions and equipment, and mainly because I teach, so I want to, and I don't create my own solution or anything like that. So when I teach on some of the top brands of solution, as opposed to trying to just, offer my own. So I personally have used so many kinds of solutions, just practicing on myself, on Luke, on my friends, on Katie, and just trying to figure out which ones are the best. So I've kind of narrowed it down to a few. I have 5 in my salon, but that includes some of the competition tan solution and that sort of thing. But for me personally, I use a lot of Lavish Tan for my clients, and then also Black Magic. I love their argan line. My clients over here love to be very, very, very incredibly dark. So I like to use Ultra Dark 5 on them, or argan 15%. So that's kind of what I stick to. But outside of that, as we talked about earlier, I still have Sholey products. I really love their retail line. It's amazing price point. Their ingredients are great. And then kind of get a few other things in here as far as the retail line goes, but I haven't gone there yet. So hopefully next time we talk, I'll have that information for you.
Sure. Yeah. No worries. And did you mention the equipment, or do you?
No. So the equipment, what I use, I kind of have a couple of different types of equipment. I have a Lavish Tan equipment for my salon, and it's just very, very small, compact, but it's very powerful. So I love the way it looks. It's very quiet. We actually have neighbors up above us, so it's nice to have a quiet machine because they were able to hear our last machine, which was an Apollo. And then as far as the mobile tanning equipment that we have a Maximus Lite. Mm-hmm. Very, very compact, nothing too crazy, very inexpensive machine. So the girls that I have working for me for the mobile side of things, they're able to use that machine.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. Everybody's always looking for the different type of equipment, so it's very helpful for you to share that. And we know that you operate the spray tan class, the certification and training course now. But for yourself, when you were just starting out, did you go through any training, or did you just kind of jump into it and learn the ropes along the way, or a combination?
It was a combination of the two. So when I first started, I feel like I am a pretty smart person. I can try to get things really quickly, or learn things really quickly, I should say. But that wasn't really the case with spray tanning. So I had ordered all my stuff. I tried to do it by myself. I ended up turning people orange, splotchy, blotchy, any negative thing that you could possibly think of had happened to me in the beginning. And so what I decided to do was actually go through Sholey and take their online training course, and that was very, very helpful. And that was kind of like the beginning of really learning how to do this professionally. But even still, with that type of training, a lot of it is trial and error. A lot of it, you're still going to make mistakes 6 months, 12 months, a year and a half, 2 years, down the road. Everyone's skin is so different, so it's really hard to be perfect at this. But at this point, a lot of what I do now is, like you mentioned, teaching. So we really try to help people go through learning without having to go through all the stuff and mistakes that I went through.
Yeah, and that's the point of the training. It's good to hear that. I mean, the online stuff obviously is a great way to start out, and as you said, you're never going to be prepared for everything. You just kind of have to jump in and learn along the way. After getting a solid foundation, obviously I recommend training at least to get started, but after the fact, it's good to have, good to know that you kind of learn even 2-3 years down the road.
Yes, I feel like it's a never-ending learning process for me, and especially because I want to provide my students with the best information. We're always trying in, new solutions and new retail product lines, new exfoliators. We're trying everything, so it never ends. This thing will never end. Yeah. We're always learning how to do contouring better, competition tan better, and all of that. So I don't think there's ever going to be a point where I'm going to say I know it all, because that's going to be impossible. There's always something to learn.
Yeah, I think if you ever get to that point, then that might be the point that you start to see the opposite come true, and you might start declining. Anybody that gets to a point where they think that they know everything, or, hey, I made it, whatever it may be, that's the time where you start to probably fall backwards.
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah, it's good that you definitely recognize that. And for anybody out there listening, you might get to a certain point and or kind of get to a goal or something that you've reached, maybe X amount of tans per month or whatever that may be. But make sure that you have the next goal ready so you don't, take a step back or regress in any means. So.
Exactly. Yeah, you'll become complacent after that, and I feel like that type of attitude is just not the best attitude to have. So.
Definitely. Well, Kelly, to kind of wrap this up, I kind of love this question. It's great to hear everybody what they would say to themselves. So if you had to, or if you could write a letter to yourself when you were starting out, when you're starting your mobile business, the Positively Tan, what would you say to yourself?
Oh my gosh, I would say a lot of things, but mainly just keep on going. Don't worry. Don't sweat the small stuff. Keep your eye on the prize, on the bigger picture, on the vision, and basically just do your best and enjoy the ride. I think a lot of the times when I was going through the downwards of my business, I would, be very hard on myself or want to give up. And, you just have to remember that it's not always going to last, that you're going to go ahead and do better if you keep on going. So everything's going to be okay, and just keep trekking.
Yeah, it's some similarities there to what Jen shared on the last podcast as well. That the persistence thing is something I hear every single time, and that's definitely true. It's good to hear that you're kind of speaking to the same things, and to say you kind of have to always stay focused on what the big picture is, what the goal is, and understand that the process, you got to enjoy the process. It's not like once you get to a certain point, happiness is going to come. You have to enjoy every single step of the way. So it sounds like you do, and that's very good to hear that that's how it's been for you.
Yes, exactly. I agree 100%. It's definitely hard to keep that mindset going, especially when the times are rough, but if you just gave up, then you would never know how great it could be. So.
Yeah. Very, very good, very good. Well, Kelly, I'd like to acknowledge you and thank you so much for joining us and sharing the information. On behalf of your Slay Beauty Bar and Spray Tan class, it's been great to have you here on the podcast. If you have any, if somebody wants to reach out or has questions for you, what's the best way for them to contact you?
The best way to contact me would be through my email address, which is info@positivelytan.com, and they can also visit spraytanclass.com. And the third thing I want to mention, actually two more things, sorry.
Sure.
YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, which is a great resource for spray tanning technicians. So that is Kelly Callaghan. And then also on Facebook, we have a Beauty Business Babes Facebook group that anybody can join.
Sure. I'll make sure to link those in the show notes as well. I'll get those from you. We'll add those to the bottom. But Kelly, thank you so much. Thanks for joining us. I know it's probably a beautiful day out there in California. I hope you enjoy it and have a wonderful day. And thank you so much for sharing all your insight and your story.
Thanks so much, Grant, for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Hey, Happy Tans listeners, this is Grant. Thank you so much for joining us on the Happy Tans podcast today, episode 10. It's hard to believe we're already to the double digits. Let's continue to grow and listen to more and more great stories here. Thank you so much, Kelly Callaghan from Slay Beauty Bar and SprayTanClass.com for joining us on today's episode. Thank you for sharing your insight and your story on how you went from a mobile-only business to having a physical location that now incorporates more services than just spray tanning. And not only that, but you also mentioned the international spray tan training course that you have through SprayTanClass.com. Thank you so much for sharing everything that you have there. As everybody heard on there, you can reach out to her via the links at the bottom of the show notes. Again, thank you so much, Kelly, for joining us. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to reach out to me, grant@happytans.com. Visit us at happytans.com and happytans.biz, where we have the first website builder for sunless tanners only. Thank you so much again for joining us, and have a great day. Happy tanning.